Your Honours, family, friends, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mohamed Ravalia, and I'm a family physician practicing in Twillingate. I'm deeply honored to be a part of this 150th anniversary celebration, and let me remind you as well that this is the 50th anniversary of Memorial's Medical School founding. I have lived in the beautiful Isles of Notre Dame for the last 30 years, and during this time, my appreciation of collegiality, community spirit, altruism, and spirituality have helped to shape my ideas and guide my ideals. My desire for a better Canada is to enhance equitable access for healthcare to our rural and remote citizens. My community and many others in Newfoundland and Labrador have benefited considerably from proactive rural strategies through MUN's School of Medicine in partnership with the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador and federal initiatives. We have established community-based, multidisciplinary practices with academic linkages that best serve the needs of isolated communities. Viable regional and tertiary partnerships have helped to complete this relationship. Working in a team-based environment with a variety of health professionals and support staff has made me realize how important it is to create a respectful and energized milieu that responds to the needs of a community. Some of the greatest lessons in my career have come from this approach to healthcare. Let me pause now for a moment and reflect upon my past and how my own experiences have influenced my career path and my passion, not only for rural medicine, but for the beautiful community of Twillingate that is now my home. I was born and raised in the Central African country of Rhodesia, a British colony that subsequently became the independent state of Zimbabwe. My formative years were unfortunately significantly impacted upon by a system of apartheid that repeatedly humiliated and denigrated the Asian society that was the very essence of my being. My entire life was shaped by my ethnicity, and like Samuel T. Coleridge's Ancient Mariner, I was weighed down by an albatross that inevitably intruded upon and shaped my values and ambitions. On completion of my medical studies in Zimbabwe, I was anxious to pursue opportunities that might afford me the chance to experience that elusive taste of democracy. In my history lessons, I had learnt about Pericles and his address to the Athenians 2,500 years ago about a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. This equitable state, which had up to this point eluded me, became for me a personal pursuit and a subliminal obsession that I set out to conquer. In 1984, I arrived in this province, anxious, apprehensive, but full of anticipation. I was struck by the remarkable beauty of the rugged landscape, the tantalizing allure of an angry ocean, the source of our bounty that had taken so many lives, but most touched by a people who had such a clarity and definition of their history. Out of turmoil had gelled a fierce and proud heritage that was captured in beautiful sing-song lilts and a self-sufficiency that exemplified an endearing spirit of survival. The community welcomed me into their hearts and their homes. I, a single Muslim from an African country, surrounded by 2,500 Protestants and 10 Catholics. For the first time in my adult life, I was accepted for my skills, for my humanity, for who I was. To not be prejudged on my ethnicity for the first time in my life allowed me to shed that albatross that had weighed me down for so long and took away the doubt and uncertainty. As I explored the island, I began to appreciate the importance of a social justice mandate that every society deserves. My heart went out to those who felt marginalized, and I made every effort in my practice to reach out to them. Single mothers, the working poor, individuals with disabilities and mental health issues, and in particular, the LGBTQ community. I have learned a very valuable lesson over time as my engagement within my community has grown. Out of a foundation of adversity and challenges has arisen a culture of remarkable humanity. My first contact with medical students allowed me to marvel at the exceptional training and maturity of these young adults. When I was offered the opportunity to get involved in teaching them, I jumped at that opportunity and joined a like-minded group of educators across the cottage hospital system. This unique privilege set me on the path of a lifelong learning course as a foundation and cornerstone of my medical practice. When a medical student first used the term mentor to describe our relationship, I was struck by the sense of responsibility and guidance that came with the term. An educational contract had now evolved and was a part of my daily practice. I reflected long and hard on creating an environment within my practice group that would allow young trainees in all disciplines to return and practice as my colleagues. This dream in Twillingate today is a reality. All my practice partners are my former students. And I have many specialists in the region that I refer to who spent some of their training with my team in Twillingate. As rural Canadians, we have historically been under-resourced when it comes to healthcare and a number of other disciplines. But we need to continue to network and engage with all levels of government and continue to raise the profile of rural and remote health needs and care. Rural health practicing is an absolutely incredible experience. The mandate to provide the very best care for our population will come from building on the work that has already been completed, recognizing that we need to support initiatives that adapt to the changing demographics that we face, as well as the evolution in technology and research. This amazing country, this amazing province, has afforded me a career way beyond the expectations of my humble roots in a small farming community in eastern Zimbabwe. Please allow me to acknowledge my wife Diane, my beloved sons Adam and Mikhail, my dear friends Anne-Marie Daly, Mrs. Mary Philpott, and Zach Daly, who are here tonight. Rural Newfoundland and Labrador has been the nucleus upon which I have built my strengths and also faced my vulnerabilities. I will continue to work tirelessly to advocate for the health and welfare of vulnerable Canadians. I would encourage you in joining me doing so. Let me finish with a quote from former President Barack Obama. I think we are born into this world and inherit all the grudges and rivalries and hatreds and sins of the past. But we also inherit the beauty and the joy and the goodness of our forebears. And we're on this planet a pretty short time, so that we cannot remake the world entirely during this little stretch of time that we have. But I think that our decisions matter. At the end of the day, we're part of a long-running story. We just try to get our paragraph right. Close quotation. It is my sincere and heartfelt belief that Canada has certainly gotten its paragraph right, that while we endeavor to work towards a better country, I believe history will judge this country for its true strength and values, founded upon a triangulation of three great nations with a mosaic of immigrants like myself, we have built a social order that I think is the envy of much of the world. Thank you. God bless.